Canva has 265 million monthly users. 31 million of them pay for it for $1 billion in annualized revenue. Profitable for 9 years, by the way. All of that was built on one thing: simplicity. A crop tool that behaves exactly as you expect, a filter that looks just the same in preview as it would look in the output. No surprises, no learning curve, no prompt engineering required. Now, Canva is adding memory, agentic orchestration, brand intelligence, and AI that rewrites your prompts in the background without telling you, by the way. The question worth asking is whether the thing that made Canva the most used design tool in the world survives the upgrade. Well, as always, I have our brilliant Supreeth Koundinya, tech journalist at AIM, who has been covering this story, and Supreeth is going to help me deep dive into it. Welcome to Front Page. Supreeth, how are you doing?
Thank you, Sudhi. Thank you for having me here.
Such a pleasure. I, of course, only mentioned one question. I have a slew of them.
Of course.
All right, so let's start with the first one, which is the deterministic design bit. Right? Canva is built itself as far as that is concerned.
Right.
So what is your take as far as how significant is the risk factor? Because we are talking about 265 million users, Supreeth.
Right.
So if something goes a little off, you know how eccentric people can be. And rightly so also, because they've gotten used to a certain flow. And suddenly if they don't find that same kind of easiness, they might just leave.
The risk factor is also associated with the user cohort that Canva has, right? It sort of caters to the beginners at graphic design, people who aren't the professionals. And most of them, you've got high-end tools, that give you more control and all of that. So Canva is focused for most in the beginner layer, people who are still learning design, people who just want to get done things quick. But what happens with AI, AI can make a lot of mistakes.
Oh, yes.
And you might enter a prompt and your imagination of the output might be one thing, but the output may be something else. So all things considered, the risk is quite high. But it's interesting when I had a conversation with Danny Wu, who's the head of AI products at Canva. So he gives me a bunch of techniques and frameworks, pillars that Canva has adopted over the years in terms of carefully integrating AI into the product suite so that it not only doesn't scare away the large group of user base who are stuck on Canva.
Relatively nascent in design, etc.
Exactly. Who stick by Canva because of the simplicity it offers. Not just, hold them, but also empower them with AI. Tell them, hey, that more is possible with Canva AI. And it's a very unique approach because it's a very unique platform out there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I, of course, have to read out some of the features which I thought were quite interesting.
Yes.
Canva AI 2.0 introduces memory that learns from your requests over time.
Yeah.
Then we have brand intelligence that automatically applies fonts, colors and styles, and object-based intelligence that lets users edit specific elements without starting, or quite a impressive layer of features.
Yeah. I think that's the three pillars that he mentioned. One is memory, then you got brand, identity, and the editability. So with memory, what happens is, look, someone who's very familiar with AI products, all the cutting edge AI tools, you often know that memory in AI products is, it's very dicey, right?
Iffy.
Sometimes,
Correct.
you need to add the same old details back into prompts again and again. But with Canva, they made a conscious choice that if the user prefers to have this kind of a color, if the user taste is something very particular, Canva AI sort of ensures that the taste is maintained across different prompts.
So, Supreeth, essentially what Canva is claiming is that they've sorted the issue out as far as hallucination is concerned.
Yes, but specifically with Canva, because again, Canva comes with just a very specific set of features and specific set of functionalities that the AI model can do. So for this particular use case, Canva has ensured that, okay, you know what, we're going to put a basic layer of memory out. And there's something called as the memory file, the ME file, that Canva consistently updates internally in the application
based on the
user prompts. Exactly. So as the user continuously uses the product, Canva also learns that, hey, this is something that the user explicitly doesn't prefer or for sure prefers, and we're going to do that. And you mentioned brand intelligence. Of course, with Canva, a core feature is that you can upload all of your brand assets, your logos, your fonts, your color schemes, and all of that. So even with Canva AI, all that is tightly integrated. Anything that you design will also adhere to your brand identities, is what they call as brand intelligence. And then, of course, you've got object editability, which is one of the efforts that has come out through their frontier AI models. Canva also has a foundational model, AI Lab, in them inside the company. So this is one of their efforts where if you elements are editable, small, low-level elements are quickly editable so that you don't have to change the entire design if you want one thing that is editable. So this
is great, to be
basically
honest.
Giving users a lot of control without pushing a lot of buttons and knobs. Again, I keep going back to why Canva is an interesting product is that, yes, ChatGPT is also a product that's adopted by millions. But what happens with ChatGPT is that it's open-ended, right? You can do anything with it.
Correct.
Essentially, you're just presented with a blank chat window. Correct. Same with Google Gemini. But with Canva, over the years, I think they've released it since like more than 10-15 years now. It's very catered to this very specific set of audience.
Niche.
Yeah, people use Adobe's InDesign, Photoshop, some of the ones who need like extreme amount of control. So professionals who've learned design softwares through the years. Then there's Figma for like UX design and UI design. But Canva is just something very simple. My mother uses Canva. A lot of people use Canva who aren't the most tech savvy people. So integrating AI for them is a very challenging task.
Honest story, when I started to work in terms of presentation, I'm sure so have you, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Right.
Canva seemed to be a lot more easier as far as the user interface was concerned.
Exactly. Yep.
That's why you get drawn to it.
Exactly. It's built for that. Again, the examples that you mentioned, anything in Canva so far, you press a button, you know this is exactly what's going to happen. Right? For example, you select all elements. You have an option called grouping the elements so that they don't move. It's basically
the simplicity of it.
Yeah, a very intuitive user interface, which again, an unbiased take is one of the reasons why the platform has grown. And it's going to be a very challenging task, but they've taken on this challenge of ensuring that intuitiveness, that user-friendliness continues to be their core philosophy, even though you have something very probabilistic with AI coming into the picture.
But that's a huge claim in terms of what you had mentioned a while back regarding the fact that they're saying that hallucinations are not going to be a part of the entire conversation if people are using it moving forward. I have to obviously talk to you about this now. In 2024, Canva acquired Leonardo AI. In early 2026, it acquired Mango AI and Cavalry, right? Huge acquisitions, Supreeth. So is Canva buying capability rather than building all of it? Or is it that a sign of strategic clarity or a sign that the core team knows that, all right, these are our core capabilities and talent skills. What we don't have, let's not waste time on that and let's try to bring the experts on by acquiring.
Exactly. I think more of the second, but also the fact that Canva is nailing on to, what, our job out here is to build the best product. And why start from scratch in building a new ML framework or an ML machine learning product for images? There's something else that we can buy, we're going to buy them. And again, time and again, we've spoken about these acquisitions. It's less of the product, but more of the talent that you're bringing into the company, right? So Canva has nailed the UX, nailed the product management and the user facing aspects of it. They're going to get the tech, they're going to continue doing their job of product positioning. They're going to get the best of the minds, not start something from scratch. Essentially, that's the philosophy with Leonardo or Calidio or any acquisition that they've done, so that Canva continues to have the focus on the area that matters most.
Share this with me, Supreeth, this new development that we are discussing right now. How much of a timeline, since you mentioned that you were talking to the head of AI inside of Canva, how much of a timeline have they spent in the past, let's say, working on the iterations of it, doing all of the R&D for them to make such a big claim? What's that runway been like?
Right. So Canva has focused on machine learning features since the last 7 to 8 years is what I've heard, which is true because you've got features like the background eraser or recently over the year, the magic editing or the magic eraser features. And it's been a consistent feature deployment, especially in terms of AI features. But of course, we can say over the last 1 year, that pipeline has accelerated.
Right.
But not so much to say that the entire product is revamped, the core product remained the same. But obviously, you got to jump on the trends with generative AI. You're going to be left behind. So they're taking these steps very carefully. I think some of the features that Canva has implemented in the second iteration, ideally you'd expect them to be in the first iteration, given how quickly companies move under the pretext of, hey, I don't want to be left behind. But Canva, as per my knowledge, has been taking it year by year. They've known the feedback. I think every feature that Canva has put out in its first iteration of AI features has worked well. at least as per my knowledge of some of the user reviews I've seen on forums like Reddit. Of course, there are issues here and there, but yeah, they've spent a lot of time with ML and AI features. But two, over the years, they've taken their time to integrate AI features. The second iteration is here.
So
the fact that they've taken 2 years, so it's a balanced approach. And they've told us Danny Wu tells me that they've taken a very careful approach of user testing features, as it happens with every company, bringing non-Canva users, helping first-timers, ensuring that the company knows, hey, any AI feature that we're going to put is going to sit well with the very first-time user that we're going to see. So there's of course, a ton of user testing that's going to come out.
That's why I asked you that question. Yeah. It's a very tight rope.
Of course, I'm sure given with any company, I think even with Canva AI 2.0 would be a decision that they would have taken months maybe a year ago, that, hey, you know what, we're not going to speed run everything. We're going to put out some for beta testing, insider testing, internal testing, and then maybe when we decide fully it's ready, because you got to remember the users Canva is dealing with, right?
Yeah.
The moment Canva is this comfort zone for them, it feels homely for them, it's that comfort food for them. The moment it starts acting wacky and asks you to be a prompt engineer or be the expert at what you're doing,
that's where you've lost the attention.
Yeah, the user is going to go away. So that's the core attention that Canva wants to maintain, and it's going to be interesting to see if they have maintained as users are going to use Canva AI.
No, but the way you've described it, it seems that yes, there has been a lot of work that's been put into it. Of course, that brings me to this point. Canva's head of AI products, whom you've just mentioned a few times, I want to understand this. Rewriting user prompts invisibly, is it a significant design decision, Supreeth? Or there's the other aspect, what happens to trust when the output does not match what the user typed and they do not know why?
Right. So again, it's what Canva also has is around 14 years of data and knowledge about user behavior. And that is a goldmine in terms of how Canva's users sort of behave with it. So in terms of prompting, you're often staring at an empty screen, an empty chat box, not knowing, you have an idea, you have a visualization, but not all of us are best at translating it to AI. Yes, we use voice, we give it a free hand, but sometimes knowing what the Canva memory, the information that Canva memory has, knowing that your brand identity is based on the information that you've uploaded, or knowing what it knows about you as a user, Canva sort of in the background, at least from what I hear, fine-tunes the prompt, ensures that the prompt is something that you're looking for based on how your relationship is with Canva. And of course, the result obviously is going to be intended to how your relationship is with Canva, and that's the direction that Canva is looking at. So basically, the prompt refinement in the background, the invisible refinement that happens, is obviously going to happen with adherence to your memory and the knowledge of the user.
Point taken. But I have to ask you this. This just came to my mind. Do you think it might help, or do they have some sort of let's say a guideline, or maybe a tutorial, if you say so, for the fact that, because we have both understood that there are a lot of new users, there are a lot of people who are not very in depth as far as, let's say, prompting is concerned. Maybe they have a language barrier, maybe they have X amount of things. But that should not limit them, right?
Exactly.
From expressing their creative brilliance. So do you think that it might help if they have a certain kind of a guideline that, all right, if you give me this kind of a prompt, and then that coupled with that they are iterating the prompt also. Do you think something like that is there?
See, the thing is, the moment you have a guideline to a very subjective activity like prompting is where it breaks, right? Today, if you're struggling to speak English, if I give you a guideline, you need to follow that guideline for a month or a year, so that the guideline compounds into making you a better English speaker. Canva, given the user base it has, for at least the majority of it, you can put a guideline to cropping images, or let's say applying an AI effect or something where it's deterministic. Step 1, step 2, step 3, you got an output. There you have a guideline. But building an inherent skill of getting better at prompting is not something that you can afford to put a guideline to, because that might be open-ended, that might leave the user more confused, that might be like, hey, you know what, I followed the guideline, I'm still not able to translate my thing. But obviously, you can have like very objective guidelines like, hey, put / this effect to get whatever effect.
But in summary,
put / like whatever this style.
Sorry, Supreeth, I'll have to cut you through, but I know this conversation can go on, but paucity of time. And thank you as always for your inputs. You've been very kind. But I feel it's exciting times ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow Supreeth Koundinya as far as his articles are concerned on the Analytics India magazine. And I think some of the points that he's brought on are fairly insightful, given the fact that Canva is at the precipice of experimenting as far as the trends are concerned, which is great. But I believe their balanced approach is something which will augur well for them moving forward, because they have a very sensitive community which they're taking care of. Please let us know what are your thoughts as far as this particular development is concerned. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. All I'd like to say to all of you is, please go ahead and share your positive comments with us. It really helps. And before I leave you, I of course have to remind you of the AMD AI Engage Challenge, which gives you the opportunity of gaining national recognition and winning $5,000 in prize money. Excited? Take a look at the link which is pinned in the comments below. And as you know what I'm going to say now, think AI, think AIM.